If you are a frequent listener to the podcast, you know that we have been sponsored by Fuji Sports for quite some time now. Whether you're looking for apparel, equipment, bags, or accessories, Fuji Sports has got it covered. Go to fujisports.com to see the latest selection of everything you need for your jiu-jitsu, judo, or MMA journey. That's fujisports.com. Let me take a minute to tell you about RŌL TV. If you're looking to take your jiu-jitsu to the next level and supplement your BJJ education, then RŌL TV has you covered. RŌLAcademy.tv has over 1,500 videos covering individual techniques, positions, and concepts, including seminars and workshops with top-level competitors and instructors like Chris Wojcik, Robert Drysdale, Aaron Hurley, Emily Kwok, and more. Whether you are a beginner or more advanced student, RŌL TV is the online platform that can take your jiu-jitsu to the next level. What's up, everyone, and welcome back. If you haven't already, please hit the like, share, subscribe, download, listen, and whatever other button there is, and leave us a review wherever you do listen. This helps us bring you the great guests and amazing content that you've come to expect. On this episode, Thomas and his guests discuss the distractions within jiu-jitsu. They discuss the shiny objects that distract us from what's been proven to work, and the distraction jiu-jitsu provides us from everyday life. They discuss the importance of fundamentals. They also discuss the communal aspects of jiu-jitsu, embracing failure, and more. Here's the RŌL Radio with BJJ Black Belt, instructor at Stoutpgh, and creator of the Untappable White Belt, Tanner Hall.
Welcome to RŌL Radio.
And we are live. Tanner, how are you?
Doing great, Thomas. How you doing?
I'm doing well. We figured out the technology. That's the important part.
I'm actually pretty good at it, so that was disappointing me.
Yeah, well, sometimes these things are tricky. Like we buy all the, like I feel like I have all this equipment here, and I use like 3 buttons out of all of this. It's like sometimes it's overcomplicating things, isn't it?
Yeah, especially if you're on like a mixer, a mixing board, whatever that thing is.
Yeah,
you got buttons and knobs and all that to play with.
Is that how you feel about jiu-jitsu? Like it is simple, yet us humans can make it so freaking complicated. How do you feel about that?
Oh man. So when I got my black belt, I felt like I didn't know jiu-jitsu. I had that imposter syndrome, like, oh man, I really got to study now. I really got to spend time on the mats. People are going to come to me for answers, and I have to have the answer. So you better study more.
Why is this like that? Let me just interrupt you here for a second, because for average person and anybody who's listening to started jiu-jitsu yesterday or last week, last month, they are like, you're out of your freaking mind. Like, I want that black belt. Forget about black belt. I want the blue belt. I want that, I want to chase this thing. And we do for so long, right? Some of us chase it for 10, 15 years. And then almost everybody that I talk to has the same comment as what you just mentioned. You get your black belt and you're like, shit, I don't know anything. Now I got to go back. And like, why is it like this?
So one of my mentors and good friends, Sean Williams.
I love Sean.
Oh, he's incredible. I can't say enough good stuff about that guy. He's a genius that you can actually hold a conversation with in jiu-jitsu. Like, he is top of the top when it comes to jiu-jitsu coaches and jiu-jitsu knowledge and how to communicate jiu-jitsu effectively to any belt level. And he explained this perfectly. So the gym I'm part of is called Stout Training in Pittsburgh, PA. We got 4 locations, and Warren Stout is the owner of it, who was good friends and got, I believe, blue through brown, or at least purple and brown belt under Sean, and then got his black belt from Henzo. Warren has this camp in Costa Rica called Pura Vida. And Sean was coaching one year, and I was down there, and he was explaining this to us. He said, take like the size of my fingernail, right? My pinky fingernail. That's the jiu-jitsu that you know, right? Now, draw a little circle around that. That's the jiu-jitsu that you know you don't know. Now, expand that circle 100 times. That's the jiu-jitsu you don't know that you don't know. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost a case where you learn so much that the fear of never being able to know everything really settles in after you achieve what many people are out there to achieve.
But it's almost like what you are describing is almost chasing the impossible.
Yeah,
It's almost, it's like sometimes, I mean, I've been on the mat for 25 years and like, I feel like 100% agree with you. There's so much to learn that I don't feel accomplished in a sense of knowing everything. And I don't have all the answers. And I'm very transparent about this to everybody, like to all my students. Like, I don't know, I can get you the answers, but I don't know the answers, right? But yet, you know, when we are starting this beautiful journey, we really truly starting it to learn and to get to be accomplished, right? So it's almost like oxymoron. It's like you're chasing your own tail, essentially, right? Like you're chasing this carrot that you will never ever get, and that's difficult to comprehend for somebody who's just starting, right?
Yeah, definitely. White and blue belts, don't listen to this. You just gave away the biggest secret in jiu-jitsu. But no, you're exactly right. And jiu-jitsu is constantly evolving, constantly. And there's just such an upward trajectory to it to where, yeah, you're never going to know everything. But like you said, I know somebody that knows it, or I can get you the answer. Maybe I don't have it. Maybe I'm not either I'm not good at teaching it, or it's not part of my game, or in some ego crushing instances, hey, I just don't understand that position, but let me go work at it and I'll get you the answer.
Well, so let me ask you this, with the context of what we are talking about, should one focus on the general thought of jiu-jitsu and trying to understand a little bit of everything, or should we specialize in one thing and become an expert, knowing that we will sacrifice the other areas?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it largely depends on where you're at in your journey. If you're just starting out, it's defense. You're going to be on defense anyways. You better get good at it. You don't have a real choice in the matter. So you better get good at defense in the beginning. But once you evolve and once jiu-jitsu molds you, you create your own unique and specific game that you're always adding to. So in a sense, you're a one of one based on your skill set. And you can always add to your skill set, right? So I think that's what keeps me coming back to the mats. It's learning more. I've been doing it 12 years, so half as long as you've been doing it, but we still share those same feelings where I just don't know enough. I need to go train more. I'm held to a higher regard than colored belts, so I better have the answer.
Yeah. Does that feel like a lot of pressure?
The idea of it feels like a lot of pressure. The practice of it isn't so bothersome because realistically, you do have most of the answers. Now, I'm a body lock passer. If you come to me asking me about barambolos and all that,
you just love smashing people.
Yeah. Yeah, I like breaking wills. That's the best part of jiu-jitsu for sure.
I like that. I just break wills. That's all.
Yes.
But there's something behind that too, right? Like the longer we train, I feel, at least in my case, longer I train, longer I'm on the mat, I simplify things to these very simplistic things.
Mhm.
Like why I feel like I have some students. Actually, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was telling them, I feel like, and I was telling him, it's like, I feel like if you can't fly, or you can't invert, or you can roll in some random direction, like it just doesn't fit you, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I am not the guy. I just simply want to be on top, and I simply want to be balanced, and at some
Yes.
point I will pass because you will give up, and like I just don't have to be complicated. Like I don't have to make this complicated.
I love
And
it. Do you find yourself, okay, you've been on the mats for 25 years. Do you find yourself going back to like fundamentals and just using the basics?
100%.
Yeah, right.
But of the fact, here's a recent epiphany that I had. And first of all, this interview shouldn't be about me, but here's the recent epiphany.
Conversation, my man.
You turned the tables quickly. But listen, here's a recent epiphany that I had is that I used to love teaching advanced classes. I used to like dig into new materials and like study and get DVDs and like dissect it and then turn it into my own. Now these days, I can teach fundamental classes literally every day. And I just dissect the little things. It's like, well, how come I grip this way? How come my balance is slightly off? Or how do I keep the stability? How do I control the distance? How do I add one extra inch? And it's such a interesting point that we find ourselves in, because all the fun stuff is fun, but I personally find the efficiency and the simplicity of it.
Yeah. And I think from that vantage point as well, you can see the improvements made in your students. It's better reflected in those fundamental classes than it is those advanced technique classes. And it really doesn't matter what color belt's around your waist. I said this on another podcast I was on, the Grindcast. It's like every time you pick up a new like flashy or advanced move or whatever, I just find myself going way back to the basics and then fine tuning those little minute details that actually make the difference instead of trying to be a break dancer out there.
Well, but then let me ask you this. How come we don't see that at the very beginning of the journey when we are white, blue, or even sometimes even a purple belt? Like, how come? Like, I remember myself on the opposite side of this conversation where I was asking my instructors, you know, I was like, you know, how do I do this? And I remember they kept telling me, just keep it simple, like this, don't overcomplicate this. Like, and I didn't want to, like, no,
Yeah.
I want to do these flying triangles. I want to, like, I want to, no, well, talk about smashing. We don't want to smash people. I want to be inverting and doing stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And then, so why is it that we gravitate towards the fancy things, yet over time we learn that, you know, there was a simplicity to all of this?
Yeah, for sure. So two thoughts here. One, you're kind of drinking water out of a fire hose when you first start, right? There's just so much. So it's as a beginner, it's hard to go, oh man, I really do need to drill into these basics fundamentals, or I'm not going to be able to do those flashy moves. But then the other thought is, like, take the GOAT, Gordon Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
He's not pulling off flashy moves. No. He is crushing souls at his will, under his tempo, his speed, his skill set, and you can't do a damn thing about it.
Yeah.
That's what works.
And here's an interesting thought on that point. If you look at his instructionals, they are quite broad, and there's a lot of information done, you know, that he's showing and teaching.
Yes.
But when you look at his fights, it is so simplistic. it is dumb as stupid. Like it's just control the distance, control the weights,
Yep.
smother, and get on top, and it's over.
Well, that is greatness. Take the greatest guitar player that you can think of in your head. He or she makes it look so effortless, so smooth. And like you could go out there and play guitar just like he or she can. It seems like after we all watch a Gordon Ryan competition that we can go out and just sit there and camp and tire them out and then wait for our opportunity to pass, hit the pass, then go into mount, really cook them under mount, maybe get their arms up over their head, making high level athletes look like they don't even belong on the mat with him. That is greatness, is doing the basics, being so fundamentally sound that nobody else can do anything to you because you are so skilled in what everybody is supposed to be learning. But those flashy moves, I mean, let's fast forward 25 years. Gordon's not going to make ESPN's top 10 plays, but take your next flashy guy. Say J-Rod, for example. He's pretty flashy. He probably will, because he'll do 2 backflips into a flying triangle and finish the armbar, and that's cool. But is it realistic? Are a lot of people going to hit that? No. There's a very, very small percentage of people that can actually pull off those flashy moves. But it's an equally impressively smaller number of people, Gordon, that can go out there and do the basics, do the fundamentals to you at will, and you have no say in the matter.
So when we look at jiu-jitsu from that perspective, when we're trying to achieve, because look, step back for a second, we can look at greatness in different perspectives, right? We can look at the unstoppable and undisputed, and in this case, we are referring to Gordon Ryan, or we can look at the entertainment factor, which there is a certain level of greatness here too, right? I mean, whether it's jiu-jitsu or MMA, drawing that audience to you and becoming, having the factor of fame, following, and so on, right? I mean, there is a greatness associated with that too.
Yeah, for sure.
Where should we be focusing on? What should be important to us? I mean, should we be chasing the perfection, or should we be chasing the fact that we are being noticed, that we are achieving things, maybe not perfect, but there is a creativity and freedom of motion and movement?
Yeah, I think you just got to get really good at talking shit. Take the old Chael Sonnen route.
Well, there you go. Now you're talking old school. Talk about old school trash talker. Lord.
I think he's the greatest trash talker
ever. Oh, absolutely.
All
and
athletes,
he's such a nice
sports.
guy. It is like if you meet him in person, it's like, whoa. Like,
yeah, completely opposite of when the camera's on.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, standing in these shoes, black belt shoes, strive for fundamental perfection. When you have a master's level or a PhD level understanding of fundamentals, and I'm talking about everything there is to know about one particular position. Say we're on top in side control. How do I apply pressure with my hips to feel as heavy as I can? What's the distance that my knees have to be off the mat to create as much pressure as I can? Is my head in the right position to create as much pinning pressure as I can? What's my next step? What are his 2, 3, 4, 5 defenses that he could do right here, right now? There's so much to learn. It's that big circle of there's so much jiu-jitsu out there, and there's so much to learn that yes, these flashy moves, take the buggy choke, for example, that went crazy for about 18 months, and now nobody's getting hit with a buggy, right? It's just, and
But
you're going to rinse and
case,
repeat that as well.
Isn't that the case with everything jiu-jitsu related? I mean, we go back, 20 years ago, and you have Gordo doing half guard, and nobody knew what half guard is, or wasn't as popular. You're talking about De La Riva doing crazy things with his legs.
Yeah.
Spider guard. I mean, Lord, what the hell are you doing with these legs?
Yeah.
Like, we go through these waves of new information, and things catch on, and then everybody's chasing that shiny object, right?
Yep.
So like, I feel like the point of distraction today is so large because of the accessibility to the information, right?
For sure. If you don't mind. So there's always going to be a new flavor of the week. There's always going to be that. But go look at the data. Go look at the statistics. What's the single most hit submission in all of the major grappling promotions?
I don't know.
It's a rear naked choke.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's in the fundamental curriculum.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And I think it's I think it's like, now somebody's going to call me out and go, oh, it wasn't 80%. It was 76.2%. Shut up. 80% of submissions hit in ADCC, IBJJF, you name it, is a rear naked choke, even in the UFC.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental submission. And it's one we learn as a white belt that carries us through our entire journey.
So let me ask you the same question again as I asked you, 15 minutes ago. It's like, why are we overcomplicating this? Like rear naked choke, thought and probably in the first 2-3 months. I mean, this is a fundamental thing. How come bridge, trap, and roll, the most fundamental escape from top mount, is being taught probably in every jiu-jitsu academy the first week you get on the mat?
Yeah.
And yet we want to invert, we want to fly, we want to do these crazy things. Like, why? Why are we so smart and yet so stupid?
Yeah, that's the human flaw, right? It's that shiny new object that we want to go and do because somebody else did it. But thousands of other people have done the rear naked choke and it works. I think it's just a human fallacy in us to where we want to look appealing and we want to get the eyes on us, and maybe it's not even in competition. Maybe it's just at your gym and you're the guy that can hit the flashy moves. That guy's cool too, but I'm going to body lock him, pass him. I'm going to cook him under mount until he gives me his arms, like
you are that guy, huh? You are a mean human being, huh?
I am. I love my jiu-jitsu training partners and they love me, and I love them so much that I just can't stand letting go of them.
I love it. I wonder if they said the same thing if we asked them that question.
Well, good thing is we don't got to ask them.
But that's a big part of all this, having fun and truly embracing the grind. And that phrase is being used quite a bit in jiu-jitsu, right? Jiu-jitsu is hard, is complicated, it's complex. There's layers. There's this broad, we talked about this big circle, right? And we are only talking about pinky. That's what we are accessing.
Yep.
Right. So we do have to keep it fun, right?
Absolutely. It's inherently fun. It is. I mean, I talk about the kids program in how kids just want to wrestle around. They want to roughhouse, especially boys. Get them into jiu-jitsu. Then we can kind of like channel that energy and teach them techniques on how to roughhouse and roughhouse safely. And, little do they know that they're gaining confidence and they're gaining actual self-defense, like schoolyard self-defense out there, that maybe they didn't walk through those doors or their parents didn't get them into jiu-jitsu for that reason. But we were all that little kid and we all wanted to roughhouse. Yeah,
especially boys. Although girls, they're smart. They're tough. They're tough. And sometimes I look around the kids' classes here in my academy and I was like, oh my God. like a few more years, and like she's gonna be mopping the floor with all
Right.
these guys.
That was
Like,
the second time I got humbled in jiu-jitsu. I'm sure everybody has that story, but second
well,
time,
let's get to
Yeah.
that because we talked about a lot of things, but your story is very, very interesting, and yet so similar to many others that started jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to believe that somebody large, strong, could be manipulated like a pretzel by somebody who is significantly smaller, right? And correct me if I'm mistaken here, I'm off, but you come from CrossFit and power like background, and that was the beginning of all of this, right?
Yeah. So even a little bit further back, I played college baseball, and I was like not in shape. And then after college, I was completely lost and just, it's bad when you go to Pizza Hut and they say, "Oh, hey, Tanner." You're like, yeah, I got to make some changes.
You're the frequent flyer, huh?
Yeah. You still want that stuffed crust extra large with pepperoni and sausage? Yes, Sam, I'll take that one.
Right.
So yeah, I was I've been an athlete my whole life. My high school, even 5 or 6 years old, I was on the baseball field. Up and through high school, I played baseball and football, college baseball, and then after that, there was a period where I just didn't do anything. I played like beer league softball, and I ballooned up to the last number I looked at, because I stopped stepping on the scale, was 282 pounds. And I probably broke 290, to be honest. Like I had troubles reaching around and wiping my hiney. So there's some telltale signs that I had to get my life together. So I got a Groupon to go to CrossFit Thin Blue Line. I was living in Manchester, Connecticut at the time, and the CrossFit gym was in a big building, kind of like a business district or an industrial district. The door on the right was CrossFit. The door on the left was Jiu-Jitsu. So I'd done CrossFit for like 18 months, and I knew that the sole owner of the Jiu-Jitsu side was also part owner of the CrossFit side. So he'd come over and teach classes and whatnot. And I was always strong. Like I could lift some weights, but it's a whole different story. I mean, even better than I do. This motion doesn't really happen in jiu-jitsu. This motion doesn't really, pumping the bicep curls and the bench presses, and that's just it's a linear force. When you got somebody who's trying to manipulate and pressure you at all various different angles and changing, and it's a whole nother animal. So I thought I was strong. I thought I was tough. Just like big ego.
Do you get in shape during the 18 months doing CrossFit, or like what's your physique like? I'm trying to build this up to when we get to the jiu-jitsu part, right? So
yeah.
What are you changing your life during that time?
Yeah. So I probably got down to like 265, 270. It wasn't too big of a lifestyle change, but I just incorporated CrossFit. And look, like the CrossFit I was doing was not the CrossFit, the CrossFit Games, Rich
what you see on
Froning.
TVs.
I'm not doing any muscle ups and all that. You know what I mean? Like,
Fair enough.
I'll do power cleans all day, but if you catch me on those rings, catch me dead. So one day, so the sole owner of the jiu-jitsu side, his name's Rob Maygow. He's got one of the longest running programs in Connecticut for sure for jiu-jitsu. I think, man, I want to say he's been around for 25 years, maybe even more. Does a lot. He was he was a police officer on the SWAT team. He does a lot with law enforcement. But he would always say, hey, man, you got to come over. You got to come roll. You got to come try jiu-jitsu. And like, I love the UFC. I used to watch it all the time with my dad and my brother, my two heroes. So I had a little bit of an interest there, but I never, took the step on my own. So Rob would say, hey, come over. You got to come roll. Got to come roll. And yeah, maybe later, when I get around to it. But then I got my chance. Matt Wheeler, he was a purple belt at the time and also a CrossFit coach. So he came over and taught class. And afterwards, after one class, he was like, hey, why don't we go roll? And I was like, this is it. This is my chance.
It's about to go down.
Oh, man. I've got Matt Wheeler. He is 4'0", 125 pounds, soaking wet. He's a purple belt. I'm, 270. I'm over double his weight. And I even told him that. I looked him in his face and I was like, yeah, but like, I'm going to smash you. Like, look at our size difference. I'm just going to lay on you and that's going to be it.
Is that your truly train of thought? Like, is
100%.
This what you're thinking?
Ask Matt.
You are thinking this is about to go down and it's going to sway in your direction.
I told him to his face, I'm going to smash you. That was before Khabib even said it, before it was cool. I told him I was going to smash him. And just like any jiu-jitsu practitioner would do when presented with this opportunity, oh yeah, you're probably right. I just want to go test my skills is what he replied with.
So I'm totally bait you into that, didn't he?
Oh, here we go. So we go over, get on the mats.
Is this gi or no gi?
No gi? No.
No gi? Okay. Right.
I didn't even know what a gi was.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's go wrestle around. Let's go do some jiu-jitsu. So slap bump, we start. I'm exhausted within 45 seconds. I mean, like my lungs have never burnt that bad. It was awful.
What are you thinking?
Well, I got submitted 12 times in 5 minutes. It completely, like, my worldview shifted.
Walk me through that. Walk me through that round. You slap and bump.
Slap, bump.
And you're still thinking that you got this.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
45 seconds in, you can't breathe.
Well, I think it took him a long time to hit the arm bar. I want to say like 3.5 seconds.
So you blinked and it happened.
Oh, man. Boom.
So what are you thinking? Hold on. So what are you thinking? Are you thinking he got lucky?
For sure. For sure. I'm bigger than him. He got lucky. Okay, he's got some technique. Well, now I'm going to look for the arm bar because he hit it from guard. So I'm like, okay, I'm just not going to let him put his legs up around my face anymore. Bet. So slap, bump, arm drag, takes it back, rear naked choke, no hooks in, just right to the back, rear naked choke, tap. Okay.
Got lucky again.
Yeah, he's fast. Of course he's fast. He's a little guy. Not going to happen again. Not going to happen again. Slap, bump. Then he goes from he was sitting on his butt. I don't remember exactly what happened. I ended up on my back. And now I'm bearing the weight of a 300-pound little guy. Like this, again, he's 125 pounds soaking wet. How can he feel this heavy? What is he doing? He knows too much. He's cheating. So what did I get hit with? Von Flute choke.
Okay, there you go.
And at that point, because he's moving so fast, I need to try to match his intensity. Well, 275-pound Tanner doesn't have that gear, So it doesn't take long. Again, 45 seconds. I'm completely exhausting. He's doing whatever he wants to me at will. It was the most eye-opening, most ego-crushing, most humbling experience of my life. So at the end of it, after I catch my breath, nearly puked. Like, I almost puked, and it was only 5 minutes. I said, what if a guy my size in a purple belt, or what if Matt was my size wearing a purple belt? What could he do to me? What if he was a black belt in Matt's size? What could he do with me or to me? What if he was a black belt in my size? Oh, shit. I quit CrossFit and I signed up for jiu-jitsu that day. It changed, again, it changed my worldview to where I have to learn what the hell he's doing. Because if he can do that in a gym setting, what if I run into black belt, 275-pound Matt Wheeler out on the street? I might die, right? At least, that's the thought now. Now that I have my black belt, that's the guy who I want to run into on the street, because he's probably not going to kill me. He's probably just going to rough me up a little bit, choke me unconscious, walk away, and then I'm going to be here, snoring, and then wake up and not know what happened. So again, I quit CrossFit, started jiu-jitsu that day.
Is there a moment during that round when you're thinking to yourself, maybe this is not a fluke? Or are you really that hard-headed in a sense where you're still thinking the entire round, after all these times you're getting tapped out, that he's getting lucky every single time? Like, is there a point where this humbleness comes along, or you sit down, everything sinks in, and you're like, holy shit, like, this just happened to me?
Well, I think it was, I don't remember exactly, but if I could guess, and it's a real good guess, it was probably somewhere between the 4th and 5th submission, when I was underneath mount, completely exhausted, gasping for air, going, oh man, I have no idea what I got myself into.
Yeah.
How does he do this? What does he do? Wait, he can do this? I could go do this. Like, it was never, for me at least, it wasn't like, it didn't deter me away from trying again. It made me, he like unlocked Pandora's box for me. Mm-hmm. And he introduced me to a whole new world that I had absolutely no idea was out there.
What is so intriguing about this to you, or what was so intriguing about this to you? Because many people if we look at this just global population here, and people find themselves in a point of difficulties, and let's put jiu-jitsu aside, but we got obstacles thrown at us every single day, and we have to solve problems, we have to figure shit out. Life is not easy. Life is challenging all around, right? And many people say, screw this, I'm not doing this. Why? What is wrong with you? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You can go to Pizza Hut. They know your order. You know how easy that is?
Yeah, exactly.
What is wrong with you? Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? But your train of thought is different. You're like, wait. First of all, I can feel that there is and now, like, you processing the information. You were like, wait. He's twice my size. What could I do if I was his size? And then you take it a notch up. What if he would be a black? Oh shit! What if I was like? There is you processing this, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like not many people do that these days.
Yeah.
So what was so intriguing to you? Why you were hooked?
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu found me at the right time in my life. I was at the very beginning stages of a divorce. And so I was looking for anything that would distract me from that. And once I found it, I knew I found it, and I knew I wanted to just dive in. But it was going through the divorce is one of the hardest things in my life, and jiu-jitsu counterbalanced that. It gave me something to look forward to. It gave me a new perspective. It gave me something that like I thought about constantly, rather than, how shitty my home life is going. Oh, this is something new. This is something cool. Let me dive into this. So that's probably not really relatable to too many people's, own experience.
I don't know. I think you would be surprised. I
Yeah.
think, look, we have a sucky boss. We have this project that we hate. We hate getting up and doing the job we don't like. I think we all have reasons to be negative, and we all have reasons to complain and whine and bitch about life and how difficult it is and how grass is greener on the other side of the fence. But I think what you hitting it right there. I think what jiu-jitsu does for many people is the point of positive distraction, is that the point of looking forward to, hey, is that 6 p.m. yet? Because I want to go to the class. Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? I want to leave all the garbage outside of the door and just simply disconnect. I mean, how many guys like this? It's like, life sucks at home.
Yeah.
Maybe it does. This
Yeah.
is my outlet. This is what I want to do. I want to stop thinking about this nonsense, and I want to I want to hang about my guys.
Yeah.
I want to do the body pass on everybody and destroy
everybody.
Well, tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong at all. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because when you do zoom out, like, everybody's got their own thing going on in their life. I'm going to butcher what he said, but Chris Hoyter said it. He said, the reason I'm so in love with jiu-jitsu is because nothing else matters when I'm on those mats, because nothing else can matter. It is chess under duress. Eddie Bravo said, jiu-jitsu makes chess look like checkers. There's nothing else that you can think about when you're on the mat, because there's so much to think about when you're on the mat.
And on the top of it, you're putting your life in their hands.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Right?
really are. You really are. Right.
Like, we have this tap that saves us, but like in reality of things, if the tap didn't exist, have you ever thought about that? What this game would look like if the tap didn't exist?
Yeah, it might not evolve as quick as it had.
It probably wouldn't. There'll be a lot of body disposal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's incredibly, it's awesomely insane. Is kind of a good. I say this all the time too. Jiu-jitsu is my everything. If I'm struggling with anything in my life, I go do jiu-jitsu. If I want to reward myself, I go to jiu-jitsu. If I want to hang out with my friends, I go to jiu-jitsu. If I don't want to talk to anybody, I go to jiu-jitsu. If I need to think through a business plan, I go to jiu-jitsu just to clear it all. Like, if there's ever anything, good, bad, happy, sad, anywhere in between, I'm walking through those doors, because it's helped me. It's helped shape me to be the man I am today. It's helped me calm down, to be patient and humble me and be nicer, and not be so egotistical, which is kind of funny. You think about it, like, you would think that us black belts would be like, oh, we can just kick the shit out of anybody and, puff our chest out. But it goes back to, well, I don't know what I don't know. And how do I know I don't have Thomas, who's a black belt, been training for 25 years, walking down the street, and if he's having a bad day and I bump him in the shoulder, I'm probably going to have a bad day, So it's funny. Like, the quote that comes to mind, I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Yeah. And I think it just helps cement some really, really good values and character traits into anybody and everybody that does it.
You said that jiu-jitsu is your life. Jiu-jitsu is your everything. You come to jiu-jitsu for, in any of the situations that you mentioned a moment ago. That sounds crazy to those who don't do jiu-jitsu. If there's one listening to this conversation right now, they might think like, dude, you're insane. I mean, Tanner, what are you talking about? Like, you have no life. Like, get a life. Like, go get pizza or something. I don't know. But we there's so much truth behind this. Do you have any friends outside of jiu-jitsu?
Oh yeah, lots of them. Yeah.
And what do they think?
I think they respect it because they see the hard work I've put in consistently for over a decade. My high school friends have seen me change from kind of a short-fused, fat, lazy kid into a hardworking, disciplined, purposeful man. That's cool when like you're the only one of your old friends that does jiu-jitsu.
Do you
It's
feel
really
cool?
neat. Yeah. And then they have this false sense of security whenever I'm around them because they think that I'll fight for them. I'm not fighting for anybody. Nobody. No. My wife and my son. I'll die for my wife. I'll kill for my son. That's it.
Rewind. You hang out with your friends, and they think that you're gonna fight for them if it came down to the point.
It's happened before. Yeah, it's happened before. Stupid fights that break out, and I like, hey man,
Where's
you got
Tanner?
yourself
Tanner,
into
where
this.
are you? Where's Tanner?
I'm back here eating popcorn, brother. Let me show me your skills. You know? Pass the guard, go to mount, hit a guillotine. Come on. I'm coaching them through it.
You coaching them from the sidelines. And
But
then
yeah,
afterwards, hey, here's the card. Come
Yeah. But
come
yeah,
to
I don't
class.
like and you know, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think the large majority of people that do jiu-jitsu don't want to get into fights. They do it every single day or every other day, and they get
why
into
is that? Why is that? And I think that's a common denominator all across any type of fighter.
Yeah.
It's not only jiu-jitsu related, but the martial arts. I've talked to many other, even traditional martial artists, karate or others, you know, but even judo, like they don't want to get in a fight. They avoid fight like a plague. Like why in the hell would I put myself through this? And yet it's all counterintuitive, because one would think is like, you know how to fight, so you shouldn't be afraid of fighting.
Right.
Yet many times we don't want to. Why?
That's small thinking. You know how to fight, so you should fight. You know, there's a few thoughts that come to mind. One, you're already in the gym, you're already training, you're already getting into fights, albeit within, you know, rule sets and limitations and agreements that you'll respect the tap. But the more you fight, the less you're going to want to outside of those constraints. You know, I don't know what I don't know. I don't want to run into somebody who's been doing jiu-jitsu for 35, 40 years and they're having a bad day and I give them a worse day. I don't want to do that. It has a great way of calming you to where even if you're in a heated situation and somebody else is yelling at you and they want to fight you, you kind of just giggle in the back of your head, you know? You're like, oh, this guy doesn't know. Like, context clues, idiot. Take a look at my ears. Well, like, you know, and there's such a liability. Like, I know what I can do. I don't want to have to face the repercussions of, you know, breaking some dude's arm or something goes really awry, if I apply a rear naked choke and their body can't handle that. But at the end of the day, it's just, as you become a black belt in jiu-jitsu, you also become a black belt in like deterring fights. Like I don't have and probably same with you. I don't have any want to go and fight somebody on the street. It's just like, that's not it. That's definitely not why I do jiu-jitsu. It just so I can go prove myself against an unskilled fighter who is drunk at a bar and doesn't know what he's saying.
Humble.
For humble. Sure. It's very humbling. And that's the nature of it. Like that's kind of, that's like the first thing that happens in at least in my experience. So Matt Wheeler, he humbled me for the first time. Second time I got humbled, I was rolling with Jessie Swanson. Lord. Jessie Swanson, she is a high-level black belt competitor. Oh, yeah. She's unbelievable.
When was this?
I was a white belt.
Okay,
she was a purple belt
10 plus years ago.
Yeah. It's always the purple belts that always got me. I don't understand.
There's a common denominator. I'm noticing things.
It's their job. They'll beat up on that big white belt over there.
They're the enforcers.
Teach them a lesson. But it was my first roll with a girl. And
let's talk about that, because that can be uncomfortable for many.
For sure.
Are you doing this by choice, or you paired up?
Yeah. So, we were, I mean, two things can be true. I did want to roll with her, and we were paired up.
Okay. So you going into this with a conscious effort of, we are going to compete.
It was competition training. Yeah. So we were, Formiga. So Soul Fighters had a location in Connecticut. I think they still do. But Formiga was out there, and he was getting ready for, I think, Masters World. So he would bring in people and run a whole training camp. And any of the local competitors would, if you got the invite, you better go, right? Like, if you're going to get the invite to that room, go. So luckily I was training with the right guys, and you know, they gave a good word for me. So I got the invite, and we were doing competition rounds, and it was a 5-minute or 6-minute go. And again, it's kind of the same story. Slap, bump. And boy, she hit me with an arm bar in 30 seconds. At least it wasn't 3 seconds this time. It was, took 10 times longer. So there's a win, I guess. But she armbarred me. In those same intrusive thoughts that, oh, she just got me. She got lucky. She's just been doing this more than I have. Like, that's not going to happen again. Same thing I had with Matt when I rolled with him the first time. He got lucky. He's smaller than me. He's quicker than me. Like, I got this. So then for the next 4 or 5.5 minutes, I was in her triangle. And the only reason that I was able to like last the round while in a triangle was just because I was huge. Like, my shoulders were so wide, and then I was strong enough to just make a little bit of space so I wasn't getting choked unconscious. You talk about a humbling experience when you think you're tough. Now you're in a fighting art, and you get your ass handed to you by a woman. That's not supposed to happen. That's never, that thought never crossed my mind ever. No girl could ever beat me. I'm a man. How could a woman beat me? This doesn't happen. And sure enough, that's the earliest point in time where I can point to and go, that made me really believe in jiu-jitsu. It really works. Because jiu-jitsu doesn't care if you're a man, a woman, if you're big or small, tall, short, 100 pounds or 300 pounds. The mats don't lie. So that's where it really kind of like, I'm not going to say it's cemented, but that was the first or second. That one sticks out really in my mind, where this stuff works. And it doesn't matter who you're going against. They could be better than you. And attributes don't matter.
Would you consider this as a pivotal moment in your jiu-jitsu in your life?
Jiu-jitsu for sure, but life for sure. For sure. Again, it's another one of those worldview shifts where I gained so much more respect for jiu-jitsu and for women kind of at the same time.
It almost sounds like impossible becoming possible. It
Yeah,
almost sounds
like miraculous. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But like, you know, we laugh about it in a sense, you know, and but those who don't train still have that mentality. They still have that perspective
Yeah,
of the difference in size, the difference in weight, the difference in strength is overpowering, and there is thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of stories that prove that, that counter that prove that wrong, where
mm-hmm.
manipulation and control
Yeah,
is really the upper hand of the situation, not the size of or the strength.
it's a big circle.
Yeah,
Those
that's the big
guys and
circle.
gals, they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And I mean, if, you know, we take it back to cavemen days, you know, the men were the hunter-gatherers or the hunters, and the women, they would do some farming and then take care of the kids in the community. So if we're doing gender roles, women weren't in that equation of being able to fight, let alone fight men, let alone beat men. So yeah, it's it was wild. Like I remember.
What is your perception after that day? So like you go home, let's just say, and I don't know what you did the rest of the day, but like I'm sure you have a point of reflection. There's a point of where the fog goes down and thoughts sink in.
Yeah.
And this is the second time that you've been challenged in that from that way. Mm-hmm. Where your strength, your size, your physique really had nothing to did not save you this time.
No.
What are you thinking? What are your thoughts? How are you processing this? Are you angry?
So anger, I don't think anger ever entered my heart. It was.
Are you disappointed?
Probably a little disappointed.
Is your ego bruised?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Like, do you call your guys and do you tell them, or do you like you don't speak about this for years?
Oh, I mean, they saw it. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm just asking. So, I don't know.
So yeah, coming off the mats, I'm just like,
what do they say?
Well, so I go, "Do you see that?" And then all of my buddies knew. And they're like, "Yeah, dumbass." Duh.
You should have checked in with us first.
Yeah, what do you think was going to happen? It was a big ego check. I was never angry. It was that transition from not knowing what I don't know to knowing what I don't know. So it was a big realization. Again, A, jiu-jitsu works. The mats don't lie. B, check your ego, man. Leave that shit in the past, because this is going to happen time and time and time again. So you better get used to it. I was also still heavy at that time. So I was like, man, you got to like, no pizza this week. You gotta
punish yourself.
Yeah. But that's why I got in shape, was not from that specific situation, but like I wanted to just get better at jiu-jitsu. I yearned for it. I did everything that everybody else does. Started watching jiu-jitsu, or started watching YouTube videos and instructionals and going to seminars and training as much as I can. And I knew if I wanted to get better, I couldn't do that with a big old belly, at least not in my eyes. Now,
there's probably a lot of truth behind that. Yeah,
but so also talk to everybody in the ultra heavyweight division. They'll, especially at black belt, they'll have a different story for you. But for me, I wanted to get better. I wanted to get in the best shape that I possibly could, and I knew I couldn't do that if I had a belly in front of me. So
both of these events took place when you were a white belt.
Yeah.
Is there another event that takes place a little bit later, when you're gaining that knowledge, when you are more experienced, which humbles you and resets you back again?
Yeah.
Showing that this is not over. Like, you can be training for many, many years, and there is always somebody better than you.
Absolutely. My first competition, I was 6 months into white belt, and I won my weight division, but then I got second in the absolute, and I lost to he might have been like 155 or 160 pound guy, but he wrestled at Bucknell. So, and he just like, he was on my back, and I didn't know what to do to get him off my back. Especially a wrestler, like, man, he has a whole life before him of grappling, and now he's going to just add submissions to it. So, again, that grew, now I know what I don't know area of those circles. And every time that happens, it's like, man, go train. You got to get better. You got to get better. There's always going to be somebody out there that's better than you. There's always going to be somebody else that's more talented, that put in more work, that you could strive to be. So yeah, it happens. I mean, even last night, a purple belt hit me with a straight ankle lock.
Damn purple belts. I'm starting to think there is like common denominator all across this.
It is those damn purple belts. But yeah, same thing. He's not supposed to do that, right? I'm more skilled. I've had more hours on the mats. He's not, but
here it is again.
Here it is again. You're always going to be faced with those. And kind of just like sports imitates life, right? How do you react? You're going to go pout about it? You're going to go learn some defense.
Yeah,
which I thought I had.
All right, listen, time to adjust. Time to the drawing board.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu is a funny little.
Oh yeah,
she's a character when it comes to that regard.
That's
for you sure. Think you're good here? Well, here's something for you.
I know, right? Tanner, we talked about a lot of stuff. But one thing that stands out as I was making notes and listening to you tell your story is the big transformation that really took place over the last 12 years or so in your life. Not only physically, but also mentally. You speak about humble and avoiding fights and not being interested in certain things, but not being interested in other things, and it really becoming a man. You even made that statement, that comment.
Absolutely.
What is the one most impactful change that jiu-jitsu has given to you, or that you've made because of this transformation? But I need you to pinpoint to one.
Yeah.
The one biggest one, the one that changed everything.
The one that's coming to mind that's really big right now is failure is not a bad thing. And in fact, you need failure in order to succeed. You know, that old adage, you don't lose, you learn type of deal. In life, all those stupid cliche statements, they're mostly true, you know.
Yeah.
But man, if I was just cool with failing, but had an understanding of why I failed and where I could get and how I could use that failure to advance forward. If I picked that up early in my life, I probably wouldn't have been fat. Probably be.
But then would you be where you are today?
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. So yeah, it's got a funny time of or, you know, showing up when and where you need it. But yeah, I would say the failure aspect of it. Like he'll be 7 months here next week, my son. And that's one of the largest.
That's a new arrival.
Thank you. Yeah. Life-changing, man.
Yeah.
It's you know, jiu-jitsu used to be my everything, and then I met my wife, and then we had our son. So it's a close third, but it is a third. But I think one of the main things I want to teach him is that not only is failure not a bad thing, it's a necessary thing. And there's so much growing that happens after failure. Because when you win, kind of you don't really change. Your thoughts are just maybe a little bit more solidified. But when you lose, when you fail, man, that's when you go back and you evaluate and you really dig down to understand where things went wrong, what you could do to get better, and then make a plan on how to get better.
I love it. How many years on the mat total?
12.
12.
Mm-hmm.
In a fairly recent past, you get your black belt.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that just a little bit, how everything changed, yet nothing changed.
Yeah.
We come to these epiphanies.
Yeah.
Walk me through that day when that happened. Did you know it's coming? Was it a surprise? Did anything change for you? How emotional was this?
So my instructor does not let us know when we're being promoted.
Yeah, but yet we sometimes know.
Oh,
Did you?
I definitely got a haircut the day before for sure. Come on, dog.
You got your speech, the whole thing. Yeah.
I was definitely thinking of my speech and what I was going to say and all that stuff. I mean, it was a full range of emotions. So we do a 2 hour, pretty much 2 hour, and maybe depending on how many people show up, it could be over 2 hours. But the first hour is a mini seminar. And then the second hour is are the belt promotions. And I was the last name to get called that day. 2 other black belts were promoted. You know, and there are still those nerves of like expecting, but you might not get it. You might not get promoted. And you know, I wasn't hearing my name. I saw 2 of my buddies get promoted. So there was like a little bit of maybe I should have saved that $35 on a haircut. But then my instructor, he started talking, and he, you know, for the brown and black belts, when he gives them out, he you know, says some stuff and whatnot. So I knew he was talking about me as he was talking. So then he called me over, and it was, oh man, it was a relief, a feeling of accomplishment, a feeling of purpose. Like, man, these last like 10 years that I've been putting in are worth it, only for a stupid piece of fabric that changes colors to be wrapped around your waist. Isn't that crazy? What else is crazy are stripes. A little piece of adhesive tape, athletic tape.
And
You
people
know
will kill for it.
how much joy that brings you?
I know.
Yeah. But then, so I gave my speech in a few points. I started out, I said, just like my game in jiu-jitsu is not really my game. It's just a conglomerate of my favorite things that I've pulled out from other people who have taught me. So it's not really mine. It's a representation of my instructors and my peers. So is my speech. So I just stole a bunch of lines that everybody else said in their black belt speeches. So one of them was, jiu-jitsu isn't for everybody. It's for anybody. Not everybody's going to walk through the door and want to sign up and do jiu-jitsu, but anybody could. So jiu-jitsu is it's like an island full of misfits, and everybody's welcome. Well, and anybody's welcome. The thing I said is, back when you and I were talking about it, jiu-jitsu is my everything. I come here when I'm feeling happy, sad, got to think through a business decision, want to see my friends, want to be alone. It's my answer for everything. And after I walk out those doors, I feel so much better than when I walked in, even if I was walking in on a positive note. And then the other thing I said was, just keep showing up. Just simply walk through those doors. You might not give it your all that day. You might not feel like you want to do it. You might have other things going on and that could easily slide down, but something miraculous, something magical, something spiritual happens when you just walk through that door, which sounds like the easiest thing ever. Just walk through that door. It can get tough. But if you just keep walking through that door and do that consistently, your belt has no choice but to change colors, right? You have no choice but to change as a human being. Again, such a simple concept. Just walk through those doors. Just keep showing up. You could do anything one more time. So choose to walk through those doors.
So simple.
Yeah.
Before we start wrapping this up, I do want to ask you have you ever thought about where you would be or what your life would look like if you didn't go across that hallway from CrossFit to Jiu-Jitsu?
All the time.
What if you would said, fuck this. I'm not putting up with this purple belt again.
Yeah. Matt, Jesse.
Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah. Oh, all the time. I think I'd be fat. I'd be depressed. I think I'd have a really shitty outlook on life. I wouldn't have purpose. I'd be stuck at a job that I hated, making money for somebody else that I hated. I feel like I would be the victim in every situation. I wouldn't take ownership of where I'm at in my life. I would think I'm better than everybody else. I just am unlucky. I feel like I'd have really bad and toxic relationships with friends, colleagues, family. I doubt I would be married. I doubt I would have kids. Or if I was married and have kids, I'd have a horrible relationship and probably wouldn't be that great of a dad. I would give, on my best day, the minimum effective dose at work instead of really striving to do the best I could. I'd still be a little kid. I wouldn't be man.
Was it safe to say that jiu-jitsu changed your life?
That's like it. That's the bare minimum of what it did.
Good for you. Good for you.
How about
Amazing
you?
story. What about me?
What if you didn't do jiu-jitsu?
You know, I feel like I can't imagine that. It's hard for me to process that. And that's, do you remember when I asked you, do you know anybody outside of jiu-jitsu? I actually don't know many people outside of jiu-jitsu. I feel like most people, and I do, but I feel like oftentimes I don't have anything in common with them. So the relationship is very different. You know, even my neighbors or people I know just from the neighborhood, it's very different for me. And perhaps that's because I do have an academy and I know hundreds of people just by nature of what I do, and through these conversations and so on.
Mhm.
I don't know where I would be. I have a very similar story, which we're not going to get into because this episode is going to be 7 hours. I have very similar story to yours, extremely similar.
Okay.
I was overweight.
Yeah.
I was, my boss wanted to convince me, who's one of my best friends and one of black belts in my academy, but he was pushing me to do jiu-jitsu, try it. And I said no for months. And then finally I said yes. And I went and I never, ever looked back, and it was hooked. And I got beat up by my first class of my official class. I got beat up by Miguel Torres, and you know Miguel's from. I mean, legit. That was one of my first partners, and he mopped the
There's
floor
reason
with me.
enough to quit.
I know. I like, so is it like? And I remember sitting in the locker room, and I was like, "What the hell just happened to me?" Like, but all these things built who we are today, and I couldn't agree more with what you said a moment ago. Failure is part of the success. It's not something that we avoid. It's not something we should get away from. We should embrace it. We should look at it. Why these things happen. This is what allows us to grow. This is what allows us to get better. And jiu-jitsu is phenomenal reflection of that thought. I mean, how many times we fail in jiu-jitsu on every single time we step, every single day, multiple times a day, multiple times every hour,
every roll.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There is a failure everywhere. And those who continue training, they change. They change. Whether we like it or not, we do change. We become better. And that's the beautiful part about jiu-jitsu. And that's why I love it. I love it so much.
I have a theory about why all of your friends are in jiu-jitsu.
Why?
It just came to me.
Yeah.
Because you know who a person actually is deep down at their core when you roll with them.
I would agree with that. I think that's really deep, but I agree with that. There is a sense of, well, one, trust.
Yeah.
Like any person we roll with, we trust them. We put our lives in their hands, literally, right? I mean,
for sure.
And more we do it, more we trust them. And I think that's how we build these relationships. And I can go work out, I can do other things, I can go for a run, I can go lift, but none of that changes, you know, even a 20-minute sparring session or, you know, an hour of classes, couple hours of classes and dissecting and sweat and sometimes blood and other things and, you know, bad words and fun, making fun and trash talking, like none of it beats any of that, right? So I do think that we develop very strong relationships.
In knowing somebody to that level, there's almost a connection that's made down there or up there at that level. Yeah. So yeah, I've got stronger relationships with my jiu-jitsu friends.
Oh yeah,
than I do outside, for sure. For sure.
I agree. I agree. I said the story on the previous episodes a couple times, but like I have this. This is a few years back, but like I'm at the airport and I'm wearing jiu-jitsu t-shirt and I'm getting water at the fountain, and I look back and there's another guy with big ears, and and I'm like, hey, what's up? And then literally we start talking. I don't know the guy. I've never seen him before. And I start talking to him. And we talk so long that my flight is getting called. And I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go. Like I completely like, and it's like, what's your number? And we exchange numbers, and then we texting later. Like, I don't know other activities, but I don't believe that you create that instantaneous connection with people just by seeing their ears. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, even in like the CrossFit community, like they love each other. And if you see somebody wearing, the Reebok Nanos, kind of the pinnacle or whatever, the telltale shoe,
right?
I don't think CrossFitters go up to each other and like, hey, what box you train at? Whereas you and I, hey man, where'd you get those ears?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. There's something unique.
Yeah,
Tanner,
sure.
We've been at this for nearly an hour and a half.
Oh, man, it's a great
time
conversation.
Flies when you're having fun. This was a phenomenal conversation. But on a serious note, I appreciate you sharing your story. Many people don't share their stories. Many people are not vulnerable to open up about big life changes, as you have done over the last 12 years or so. So for that, I do appreciate. And now, congratulations on being a dad. That's a new chapter in your life. I see a big smile on your face anytime that comes up. So good for you. I'm a dad too, so I have boys too. So I love it. I love it. So I wish you all the best. I appreciate you being here. We need more people like you in jiu-jitsu communities to show the positivity and how we can really change our lives. So thanks for being here.
Man, I appreciate that. I receive that. Thank you. What you've built here is nothing short of incredible. Like, I am honored that I'm going to see, my nearly unknown name in the list of people that you've interviewed and you've had conversations with. This is amazing. It takes a lot of work on your end to do what you do, not to mention consistency. I think I read a stat, like the average of all podcasts that have ever been started, the average, if you make it over 20 podcasts, then like you've beat 95% of every other podcast out there.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
Yeah. What number is it?
242. You are number 242.
It's amazing. That's good because I like palindromes. 242.
There you go.
But thank you. I really appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
You're doing great stuff for the jiu-jitsu community, and we all thank you.
I appreciate the kind words, and thank you for being here. Let's wrap this up for today.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you for listening to RŌL Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.